Doodling on paper daily lets you recognize your addictive rhythm. We all have coincidences. In what sense exactly? What do you feel there when a rhythm appears? These lines, the lines that I start to make, I feel. Did you feel a connection between the pencil and your brow? Doodle. And I always made these repetitive figures, the same one, the same one, the same one, a scribble that now appears closed. But more than the lines themselves, it's really the gesture I used to make when I was scribbling, basically doing this. This gesture that repeats all the time, is the expression in the body of tinnitus, right? In your case, for example, you already have COPD, like your whole life, and he ran with Efraim Dominguez. I mean, he's a cyclist, a badass. He quit cycling, stopped training, and started smoking cigarettes. The diagnosis is that he had COPD, but really what he has done all his life is train this gesture.
Yes.
And that's his trained breathing. If they tell him to stop smoking, it's like they're telling him to stop breathing.
And he feels breathless, yes, even just going up the stairs.
Yes. Why? Because his trained breathing is the cigarette one, right? So in your case, what did you discover? What do you know? What have you understood from this therapy?
We're like announcers.
Uh-huh. In what sense?
In the tone of voice. There are some times we're hoarse, other times we have it clear. The opposite, not hoarse.
Ah, yes. Okay. And what have I taught you? What have I told you? There's throat clearing. Why shouldn't you clear your throat? Why shouldn't you clear your throat?
Because, the mind likes a certain tone of voice. Which is different.
So when it doesn't have that tone, it clears its throat. When he uses, he feels like crap, he feels awful, he just feels terrible, and his voice even gets hoarse. It's the same case with you.
In my case, it's the issue of going back to the cigarette again that doesn't let you breathe the damn thing, where you have the urge every half hour, every hour.
That's what you think. 5 days. Sure, but your body believes the cigarette gives you the perfect breath, and that's why you relapsed. So, and in your case, when you relapse, your voice gets hoarse. That one says, what a son of a bitch voice. Yes, that's your voice, and he knows that voice when he relapses. It's like the perfect breath is from the cigarette. That's right. So if they tell you stop smoking, it's like saying stop breathing. If they tell you to stop using, it's like saying, that's not your voice, don't use that voice. And I have patients that, okay, they stop using, but then they're useless. They do nothing. They don't feel like doing anything. So that's why you relapse, because the body says, this is my voice, and it brings it out over anyone, right? In your case, during therapy, you didn't look them in the eyes, you didn't confront. It happens a lot to those who drink. They're shy, let's say. They don't look you in the eyes, but when they drink, they talk your ear off, right? They go wild, they connect. Because the therapy we did there was to connect the feet. You were a soccer player, you stopped training, and what connected you to your heart were your feet. And at one point I came and told you what happened, and your pulse was racing. And it was as if your pulse was unanchored from your body. What anchors the pulse to the body?
Making the connection between the brow and that eating all day, because that connects the high frequencies, or playing soccer, which connects.
Right, since you don't play soccer, your way to tap into those low emotional frequencies is drinking. It gets you talking and opens your heart, right? So what I want to say and what I want to record is an approach that medicine doesn't know, that nobody knows, that the key to everything is in the ear and in the voice. So for example, your voice, you have tinnitus, but the tinnitus is this expression I told you, right? And there's always a circle, a circle, a circle, until finally a spiral appears over here. which is the spiral that reminds you of the problems from the divorce, what the body didn't process, and that at that time gave you vertigo. I mean, years. That's losing your hearing because it's sounds you don't want to hear, notes you don't want to make. No, they're frequencies. And when I took your pulse, your voice got hoarse. So I made you say, I'm hoarse, man, or what a son of a bitch voice. Because the key to everything is in the voice. So the people who, and that's why I told you that you don't clear your throat. And when they said, go ahead and give him permission, you weren't able to say, give him permission, or go ahead, son, let's see. You weren't even able to go, there was something there that there's no rhythm. There's a rhythm that you're not connecting. Yesterday I saw a patient by phone who stopped calling a son 15 years ago, but he relapsed by vaping, and so he wanted to go back to therapy. I couldn't take his pulse because he was in Bogota, but I made him scribble. And while scribbling, all the time he was in a line, and I got into this rhythm. Jacka, 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 jacka. And repeat that rhythm. Repeat it mentally, out loud. Chaka, chaka, chaka. And that rhythm when he was vaping was chaka, 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 chaka. And he said it was anxiety, but the moment I felt, or he felt, the hand go chaka, 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 but with pleasure, right? A rhythm for scribbling. That's all, a rhythm for breathing, a tone for talking, a rhythm for scribbling, a ringing in the ears, which is an expression that repeats and repeats itself to you, right? And rhythm is the essence of sport. When you're an expert in a sport, when you're good, you have flow, you have rhythm. So when people train a lot as kids, which happened to you a lot, at a high competitive level, they got rhythm. Okay, that rhythm stayed there in the heart, and the body loves it, it venerates it, it wants it, it contemplates it. But that rhythm is very fast. So during the week, working, producing, hustling, and on Friday, I relax. So he takes them to lower his heart rate, because the heart is like a prancing rooster that has a rhythm. That's why when we adjust the pulse, it's not that it stabilizes. I can adjust your voice, right? Or I can adjust your energy, which is the same thing, right? It's adjusting the tone of your voice. My mom is 91 years old. She's with depression. Mom sang beautifully her whole life, a low tone, and now she's hoarse. And she doesn't want to hear that hoarseness. She doesn't want to hear her hoarse voice. The ear is demanding and says, no, you're out of tune. She has a really picky ear, so she'd rather not talk. She feels like she's in another world, ignored. And the therapy then is, I'm hoarse, dude. I'm hoarse, dude. And she says it, and she hears herself, but she still doesn't accept that voice, right? So what you've learned, the conclusion, is the voice, right? That thing you lived through, a tone of voice you don't want to hear again, you don't want to hear, you don't want to feel. So deafness happens, and the ringing in the ear happens, evoking that frequency. There it is, which was vertigo and your breathing.
Yes.
If they tell you not to make that movement, you say, no, I'm choking. So he's diagnosed with COPD and convinced it's that. But have you improved or not?
Yeah, I'm better now.
And going upstairs, better. And the breathing came back again, but you have to maintain that breathing, the cigarette breathing, because it's the best yoga, the cigarette breathing, because cigarette breathing is the best yoga. Yoga is mudras, which are positions of the fingers.
Yes.
Pranayamas, which is breathing. Asanas, which are a posture, or the hair. I mean, listen, I don't smoke marijuana anymore, but I'm not going to stop smelling like this. This is my thing.
Yes, Pedro, why do you turn your head, man?
They're gonna analyze me. So you end up hooked on a certain tone of voice, and it's that voice from that bastard's crew yelling about going out for drinks and all that kind of nonsense. So if you don't get that tone of voice out like you felt it just now, you're gonna feel the need to be high, to be able to talk, because one needs to talk. You know what I mean? So the key to everything is in the voice. You can tell when someone has taken marijuana, cocaine, or alcohol just by listening to their voice. You can tell what someone has used by their voice. So the tone of voice, which seemed silly, is the key to everything. That's why many times the therapy is to say, I'm hoarse, man, or I'm hoarse, so what? Because look, they're very different symptoms, but they all coincide in the voice, and in the voice and the rhythm. The rhythm Yesterday's patient's rhythm was I felt he got stressed at work. So with this tension, when he scribbled like this, he was the same when he did this with the vapor. Oh, I feel the sensation in my fingers without steadying my pulse. A pleasure, and I no longer felt the stress of thinking I was working, that I was producing. But I got into the frequency because I made him smoke more than he should, and it was chaka 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 chaka. And the cigarette accelerated him. Not the cigarette, the nicotine, because it was vaping, but it's the same. So you get used to producing it, and that it took away your anxiety. It takes away my anxiety, he told me. It's just that, no, no, no. On the contrary, it has me revved up. That's what a cigarette does. It speeds you up. But it's a doping because it makes you produce. People who smoke marijuana fall asleep. They don't work. But people who do coke, or especially cigarettes, produce, work, move. Cigarettes, yes, yes. No, they don't stop because it stimulates them. And they think it relaxes them. On the contrary, it speeds them up, excites them, tenses them up. But it gives them the heart rate they need to produce, to be active. So the key to everything really lies in the rhythm of the patient from the previous process. A bunch of times I know the same thing, the same thing, the same thing, and she gets here, relapses, and complains. Oh, it's just that nothing. And addiction is not relapsing. Addiction is that crying, that criticism. As I told you just now, the addiction is in the couple. You drink and the other one nags you, you know that. All that is part of the circuit of her therapy, his, yours, and it becomes addictive. So the addictive thing is not so much the substance, but the ritual surrounding the consumption of the substance. You get me? Having relapsed, feeling like shit, the woman's nagging, all of that is addictive. It becomes a circle that repeats and repeats. And on Monday, you already know that on Monday at a certain time, it's that little tone. You get me? And that feeling of a bowed head. I mean, and repeat that circuit. So the addiction is not so much the substance, but the gestures that one repeats. Yours, the example that is very beautiful, which is the simple breathing. To yours, which is the voice, right? Or to yours, which is a voice that stopped being heard. A frequency that was left there packed as information 10 years ago, but that you have to bring back. Your voice that you let out when you drink. But the key to everything is the voice. You got it? The key to everything is the voice. You get me? Did you understand or not?
I'm hoarse, man.
I'm hoarse, man. I'm hoarse, man. Horse is a son of a bitch. You get me?
When I arrived, I started making more chaotic movements with the pencil. And now I know how my brain is, my mind. And this way, it's like we're more connected with the frown, the rhythm. And my anxiety went away more doing these three.
And what did you understand? What did you understand? What did you understand?
That the moment I feel anxious or something, in order not to consume, I should do these things instead. Sorry. Well, yes, like this way.
There's a rhythm that possesses you, which is this rhythm. But it's chaotic, scattered, with scattered, separate, anxious consumption. But here, you see, there's a rhythm you can use however and wherever you want. Let that rhythm's music be something else, not drug use. Change the lyrics to that music. Scribbling little doodles on a sheet of paper every day helps you become more aware of your own addictive rhythm.